Check, check, check. There we go. That should be a little bit better there. Guys, let me know if that's better. You should be able to hear me now. So what I had said that we lost was that I've been having problems. People who have been tuning in at all know that I've been having problems with the sim crashing during streams. And the troubleshooting of this has been going on for a long time, and it's clearly related to the new driver that I got, or the new card that I got, the 1080 Ti, and I've not been able to really fix it, and I've tried underclocking and overclocking, trying a bunch of different drivers and troubleshooting some new things now based on what we found. And so this is just sort of a test flight to see how the stream holds up. What I had said is we are also going to get a look at we're also going to get a look at the Orbx Florida tour scenery, which I've got loaded here, and this is at Albert Whitted Airport, which is my home airport, SPG. That's where I fly out of in the real world. And this is a custom scenery that I've designed that is all gateway objects, and I'll be loading it up to the gateway at some point here so that it can be into X-Plane and more people can enjoy it. And the Orbx scenery looks great, so we'll do some flying around. I do have a frame enhancement application running via my TWIC VR, which I use in VR, but I use it non-VR also. I just drag it across the window there so that I can have some limitation on FPS control. I'm shooting for 25 frames a minute, or a second. Unbeknownst to me, in the interval since when I flew the stream that crashed earlier today, is that X-Plane 11.5 with Vulkan support has been released. So I know everybody will be excited to see that, and I'll make some sort of decision if I want to risk plugging that in to my system or not. With all these plugins, I will at some point. I tend to do betas. So anyway, so let's just get the weather while we're at it. 18.875 is Albert Whitted.
Albert Whitted Information India. 2100 Zulu weather.
Hi Graham, good to see you.
Wind 250 at 9.
Paul.
Visibility more than 10.
Egor.
Sky
Michael.
clear.
Cleared.
Temperature 24.
Thank you guys for
2.12.
tuning in.
Altimeter 2994. Arriving runway 25. Departing runway 25. Advise on initial contact, you have India.
Okay, 25. Okay, so that's good. Let's just set a heading bug to that in case we have to turn back or something. We know what the landing direction is on the runway. And
Albert Whitted Information India.
Altitude here is 1,000
2100 Zulu weather. Wind 250 at 9. Visibility more than 10.
Okay, that's why. What we're doing here is we make this turn out and go down and do a run at the compass rose when we're departing 25. And I have this set so that we can look out side views. Now the stream delay is a little bit more here, so I am never quite sure if you guys are seeing what I want you to see until a few minutes have gone by, but you'll get the point. I'll be able to see here on my iPad in a second. And then we do a run up at the compass rose is the standard operating procedure here at Whitted. Go ahead and taxi down alpha. Yeah, that's working. Hello, Brian. Here's the compass rose, which I'll show you here out this window, which I created in world editor. So you come to the compass rose. You skate down here, and then you do your run up. You can see that my frame preserver is some of these things that disappear. I think I'm just going to keep it up around 79 or 80%. Okay. 1700 RPMs. Full rich. Take off one set of mags. Take off another set of mags. Just coming back. Load on the electrical system, problem, throttle back, and then they take out and tell you to go alpha to Bravo, cross to 5, to Delta. Try to look at the chat while I'm doing this. So I'll try to just give you some view of the scenery in terms of how the Orbx stuff looks. It looks really good. Not all of the coastal areas are beautiful, but in Florida, all the coastal areas aren't always beautiful. Taxiing really fast here. Let's go at what we would do normal speed. We tell them that we're crossing 2.5 on Bravo. Make sure there's nobody coming down range or on the... No. Usually don't have 2.5 as the departure here. It's usually 7, but it happens. Then you'd cross 1.8, 3.6. One thing that's cool is when you're sitting down here waiting for takeoff, it's not unusual to see dolphins right here, which is cool. I remind myself. 2994 is our altimeter. And we've got a 2,000-foot Bravo shelf above us going the way we're going, but you go to 1,000 feet till you're over the top, past arrivals coming into PIE anyway. Control check, that's all good. Fuel pump is on, landing light is on, strobe is on, make sure it's full rich. We have flaps 50. Ready to go. Nobody coming on final. Nobody downrange. Those reflections on the pavement look good, don't they? Okay, we're on the center line, full power, brakes. Lead off the brakes. RPMs as expected. Speeds are green. We are finding the center line. You want to be 50 knots by halfway down the runway. That's achieved. Takeoff point is achieved. Rotation speed about 67. There we go. Really worked hard to get a lot of these buildings right along the side here. Would be that building there, which is a part of USF, if I remember. That let us turn on course 270. Flaps coming up, 86 knots. See some of the Orbx are flying a Cirrus SR-20, which I've modified to work with the cockpit. Now for the transition, we'll go ahead and we'll fly the bridge transition, which is a way you transition the Bravo Tampa. Past PIE now, so we can go ahead and go up to 2,000 feet. Okay. So far, no real problems. The card seems to be doing okay. Check my frames. Again, we're sort of in testing mode right now, so thanks for your patience. Oops, bumped the camera. Sorry about that, guys. All right, so we're coming up to 2,000 feet. We're going to hold it at 2,000 because you have 2,000 foot shelf on there. So the big news today, again, as I was saying, is that 11.5 is out, and there you can see the beach here out the window. There's in the real world, there's a big pink hotel down there called the Don Cesar. The Don Cesar is a visual reference point for inbound and outbound. We're at 3,000 foot shelf here. So we're still coming up. And then usually you get to about here and then you can switch over to 118.3 and pick up Tampa Tracon. They usually give you a departure when you're talking to the guy, whoever is controlling is running the departures and approach the sector. And they would give you ask for flight following, so we'd say Tampa Cirrus 15 Julia Golf is 7 miles west of Albert. How would you do that quickly? Just turn over to your nearest airport screen here on your Garmin. It gives you a distance and a bearing. We know we're due west of Albert, so 8 miles west of Albert. 2,600 crest advisories and bridge transition east. And then they'd say, hang tight. And then they'd finally come back and give you a squawk code. Squawk 2724. Climb and maintain 3,500 maintain VFR. So say, great. Maintain VFR 3,500. And say, follow the coastline north. So that's what we're going to do. We'll go up to 3. So it was cool earlier today. There was a person watching the stream that I was doing earlier who said that the stream had the cockpit had a role in convincing him to go for his private pilot certificate and his check riders came out. I thought that was awesome. Chat said very low, engine noise overpowering. Okay, let me fix that. I can fix that for you guys. And it's good to get that feedback because I'm trying to get all that stuff. There's the engine noise, and there's my mic. That's a little hot. How's that? Let me know how that works for you guys. I don't want to be peaking. But I also knew earlier you could never hear the engine noise, so let me know how that's working. So yeah, so give me a radio check on that if you would. Side screen. So Frank, if you go to the website for the sim, which is www.ontheglideslope.net, good, I'm glad you guys can hear me now. What you'll see, we're coming up to 3500 by the way. What you'll see is there's a page there that is dedicated to screen setup, both for X-Plane and Prepared. So you should be able to look at that and read it, and it tells you exactly how I run my screen setup and how it works and the rest. So give that a look, and hopefully that will solve your issue. 5 by 5, good, thanks. I think well, cross my fingers, but one of the things that I researched they said could have been a cause of the crash that I was having with the driver was the in-video audio drivers. So I disabled those, but it also messed up my mic settings. Jason, this is a Microsoft Surface that I had that was out of commission that is running Air Manager. So I can run, I can run a different 6-packs on this. And then these also, I can change these gauges based on what I'm trying to do. And these are running the gauges from FSX News. Tom Tsui is his name, and he does a great job. Nice view of the water masking and stuff that they did in Orbx. Now when the satellite went by and got these orthos, there had clearly been a storm, because usually it's nice and blue, and beautiful, the water, but not today. And then over here we have the Gulf. Somebody asked if I'm running the new Vulcan. I am not. I just saw that it was released. So I gotta tell you, I'm very eager to check it out. So I'll probably download it. And I'm not flying with autopilot, so I have to keep my head in the cockpit here a little bit. Fuel pump off. We can throttle back to 75% and lean the airplane a little bit. And bring her back maybe 2,500 RPM or so. There we go. And I'll probably download the new beta from X-Plane and landing line. Let's do our flow here. Fuel pump off, landing line off, flaps are confirmed up, airplane is trimmed. Let's go ahead and switch tanks, fuel pump on. Coming over to the other side. Positive fuel flow, fuel tank back off. Clearwater Beach is right here. This is about where they would tell us to make the turn for the bridge transition. So they'd say turn and fly heading 270, or I'm sorry, 090. They'd give us vectors to fly an easterly heading. So what I mean bridge transition, well, this is Beta or Bravo airspace for Tampa, and all the arrivals and departures at Tampa run north-south. So if you're going to be flying through the Bravo, the safest place to do it is to fly directly over the top of the airport. So what they'll do is they'll have you come over to the coast like we just did, sort of a nice view of Caladesi State Park and Honeymoon Island down there, like we're really a tour guide. So they'll bring you down, and then it's a little hard to see, but there's a bridge right here that goes over the north part of Old Tampa Bay. And about Clearwater, they'll put you on a 090 heading, and they'll tell you to kind of follow that bridge, and it comes right to where the airport is. And there's one east-west airport at Tampa, and it's, you know, I think it's 2709 right now. It changes with the magnetic headings. It's 2810 right now. And then they'll tell you to stay 3,500 feet and fly the center line right down runway 10. And then 1,000 feet below you, at 2,500 feet, they have traffic in that VFR corridor going westbound. So it's a way to, as a VFR flight, transition right through the Tampa airspace. And what's great about it is you get a great view of the airport. You fly directly over the airport, get a nice view of Raymond James Stadium, where the Bucks play football, beautiful view of South Tampa, beautiful view of Tampa itself. It's a flight I love to do in the real world, especially when people are visiting the area, because they get to see, they get to see how pretty the scenery and stuff is. It's quite hazy. This is real world weather. It's a little more hazy than I'd like it to be. I can't really adjust it because I'm running real world weather, so it's also late in the day, so they're simulating some of that haze by doing that. Some of that late day haze that we'd have. All right, so right over here we have St. Pete Clearwater International Airport, which is also the largest U.S. Coast Guard air base in the United States. Another reason they want you at 3,500 feet here is that you are generally out of the way of arrivals and departures into there. They do Allegiant flies into there, so you've got a lot of jet traffic, you've got a lot of commercial Airbuses for Allegiant flying in and out of there, and then you've got quite a bit of jet traffic that is private or corporate. So you got to keep your head on a swivel here, and sometimes they won't let you fly this transition when it's just too busy going into Tampa or into St. Pete. Also, you can see in the distance with the Orbx scenery the Raymond James Stadium, or Tropicana Field, and the buildings of St. Petersburg, just kind of on the upper left side of that view. If we can look out this window, you've got North Tampa Bay. And then out front, we've got Tampa International, and I can see runway 10 now, so I'm going to start making an angle for that center line, right at 3,500 feet. One of the things that Orbx does well is the water masking, so you can see there, you can kind of see the shallows of Tampa Bay, which is cool. And same out this side. Give you a view of that. A little bit of a slip there. Okay, so we're coming up on 3.5. So far, everything's performing great. I'm gonna take a quick look at Afterburner and see how the 53 centigrade on the card, that's nice and cool. So far so good. And now right in front of us right here is runway 10, and Tampa International is coming up. That's if I turn everything on. That drops my frame rates immediately. So I have it set to draw items as we get closer. Just keeping my frames at a reasonable level. There's a lot of scenery with the Orbx. So one of the reasons I'm eager to try Vulcan is to see if it makes a difference in my frame. So far, what everybody's saying online is that it does. Now we're also streaming and we're doing a lot of stuff here, but so you get this beautiful view of you as you fly this transition. Oh, I'm absolutely a question. Am I going to try MS Flight Sim? Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so as you fly over, you're able to look out this window. Sorry, I'm trying to do this here. You got a beautiful view of Tampa International. Now, I've designed that Tampa International. That also has default objects, and I've uploaded that to the gateway, so that's in X-Plane now, the next releases of X-Plane. I worked a long time on that baby. But I think it looks good. And it looks a lot like the real thing. Then you've got... You can see how Orbx does a good job of putting buildings on the footprint of buildings using AutoGen. We would not be curving like this if we were truly flying the bridge transition. Yeah, as soon as I've applied to be in the alpha program for MSFS, but I haven't been selected yet. There's in the distance you can see MacDill Air Force Base, home of Special Ops Command and Joint Forces Command. That's Bel Air Country Club going under the wing. West Shore Boulevard coming up. All looks like the real thing. Hillsborough River on this side. And then you pass downtown Tampa and Davis Island and Peter O. Knight Airport. I've also designed that in the gateway, coming into view just now. And then there's downtown Tampa, Channel Side, and the buildings of downtown Tampa, which look great. There's Amalie Arena where the Bolts play. All right. So now, let's have a little bit of fun. Let's make it nighttime. See how things look at night. I'm running real world, so I gotta adjust the slider here. So one of the things I've done is there's a set of sceneries.
Wind shear, wind shear, wind shear.
Wind shear. Wow, I'm not seeing it, but that was interesting. There's a set of meshes you can download now. I guess they're like, yeah, mesh that will give you by state and by country lights well into the distance. And I've done that here, so we've got really nice lights looking out into the distance around Tampa. Some questions here. Have I ever tried using two PCs networked? I have not. I don't believe it allows me to do that anymore. But I thought they eliminated the networking capability, but I might be wrong about that. Nice view of the highway out there, lights around Tampa. Make it a little darker later at night. Here comes the, I can tell it's trying to crash. I'm going to turn around this way. But it didn't crash, which is an improvement. We're able to get the GNS to show traffic. No, the default GNS doesn't show traffic. If you put Real Flight or Flight Ones, there's Tampa Executive right down there, software on it, then it's running the GNS simulation software and it will do that. But I love
Wind shear,
how
wind
the
shear,
light works here.
wind
I
shear.
keep getting a wind shear alert, but I'm not feeling any wind shear. That traffic looks really good. Those lights look really good.
Wind shear, wind shear, wind shear.
Well, I guess we'll just live with that. So if you're running the GTN or the GNS software from Flight One or Flight Tech or whoever it is, it'll do that.
Wind shear, wind
That's
shear,
getting
wind
obnoxious.
shear.
That's going to make me want to turn off active sky weather XP. Bye-bye. I don't want to hear that anymore. Okay. But the default X-plane won't show the traffic. In terms of getting, so questions about how I get the view to line up, some of it is about where you put the camera, because the camera will have a lot to do with that, and the position of the camera in the cockpit, physical cockpit. See, that's great. You can see lights all the way to the horizon. That is really great. Let me tell it that I want to run real world weather. One moment, please. So where you position the camera has a lot to do with that. And then also the settings of the view out of each of those windows. So it's all going to be relative based on, it's going to give us some scattered cumulus clouds here. That's going to hurt my frames. That's okay. Still looks okay. So if you go to ontheglideslope.net, I have those settings so you can see them, and it'll help you get a sense of how I have mine configured. When I'm using the GoPro, these are both 57-degree field of view. This is a 109-degree field of view. These are both tilted, I think, -7 degrees. This, I think, is tilted up 11 degrees. I mean, I did a lot of fiddling by putting the GoPro where I wanted it, and then looking on screen with OBX, or whatever the streaming software was, to get the view so that it looked like everything connected. You know, that just took some practice and some work. All right, well, let's go fly around Tampa International a little bit. Now, one thing you can do that my daughter loves to do is she loves to change the color of the interior lighting. So these lights I have, the LED lights can be different colors. So we could go with, turn them on. We could go with red and then turn them way down. But usually in the airplane, you wouldn't even have a red light on because you don't want to ruin your night lighting. You've got a good view of Raymond James Stadium over there. Looks like there's a game tonight. So I'll just turn those lights back off. Okay. Back out the front view. Ian, it's good to see your name, thanks. Those distant lights, I don't think they're entered as textures. I think they're entered as a mesh where they place lights where there's roads. There's a view of our airport out that window. So I think it actually places them. I don't think it loads them as textures because it doesn't override my photorealistic scenery, for example. Hey Cubs, good to see you. Yeah, Mark, that's cool. I was flying in the real world back when we were flying, and had flown down to Marco Island. I was going to go down to the Keys to have lunch, but there was some weather buildup, and they were giving me an IFR route that was going to take me over deep blue water, which I did not want to do. And usually with approaches going to Miami down there, they're not really eager to let you have amended approaches a lot. So Anyway, I decided to bail on the marathon key idea and instead fly. Boy, the lights really look great, don't they? And instead decided to just put down at Marco Island and have lunch at Marco Island. There's a view out that window. There's the Gandy Bridge out that window. And back to the front window. So that was no problem. Landed at Marco and got a crew car and went in for lunch. But I was coming back and had advisories on the way back. It was flight following. I was IFR on the way down. I canceled IFR. Coming back, I had advisories going, and and the controller's shepherding me along. And usually, Tampa has a habit of sort of just, clearing you into the Bravo quite easily most of the time. So even if you're getting close, if they're controlling you, and in this case I was going to Whitted, they will say, you're cleared, or I'll ask, are you cleared? Or they'll just say, fly this heading, and they know they're taking you into the Bravo. They know you're taking it into arrivals or whatever it is. So I'm right on top of the Bravo at 3,000 feet. And out of nowhere, the controller goes, please descend below the Bravo shelf, which is at 1,200 feet. And that's right. So I think about making an S-turn or two. So I chop the power and immediately start flying this steep turn. It was a nice practice. I'm working on my commercial now. It was nice practice for a, spiraling descent. Okay, we've got 4 reds, so we can level out here. Our level out power setting is 50%. Let's do a quick check of what we got here. We've got our landing lights on, and our mixture is full rich, and our fuel pump is on. So anyway, I end up doing this set of spirals to just not blow the Bravo, and I lost a lot of altitude in a short period of time. It was always safe. It was very good practice, but I was like, come on, man. We both knew I was there. I think he was distracted. I had heard an ELT transmission, which is an emergency locator transmission on the guard frequency. Okay, we're going to power down now to about 30%. Kind of a cool view of coming over the bridge here. And coming over South Tampa on that side. And because I'm playing with that, I'm a little high and a little off center, but it's okay. What we are is fast. One thing about this model is it flies fast, faster than the real plane, I've noticed. Not quite sure why that is. We would go around right here. We wouldn't try to land this fast, but we should be at about 90 knots right now. We're at 135. So we'll just do a low pass. Let's not do things in the sim that we wouldn't do in the real world. We also have a tailwind here. So we'll check out the airport as we fly by. Power up, clean up, pull up. We'll look at out this side here and get a view of Tampa International that I've been working on. Now there are no airplanes at the gates because I have it set to put airplanes in with auto generation, so I have the extra airplanes turned off right now. Otherwise there'd be planes at the gate. Alright, so we'll just make a base turn and land over on the other runway. We'll come around and land on 19 left. Get our heading bug set for 19er. Yeah, I'm self-quarantining in my cockpit at the moment, that's for sure. Yeah, it's some lights text file that I put in there. I don't remember which one. It looks good though. Yes, this is a Cirrus. When you say can you download, Mark, what piece? The lights plugin? I'll just try to remember what it is and tell you. Yeah, you're right, Graham. There are no airplanes at the gate in real life. I heard somebody today who's in the airline industry say that, oh, by the way, I think this view of the Veterans Expressway over here with the lights looks really great. Anyway, this gent said that TSA is normally doing, I think, 2.5 million screenings a day. That's their normal level. And currently in the United States, they are doing 140,000. Okay, I just got a note saying that my rendering options are too high. Doesn't surprise me. Let's turn off my clouds just so I don't have to deal with them. Give ourselves clear skies. That'll save me a few frames. Okay, 1,000 feet. Power back down to 50%. Make a nice base turn here. Take a view in those people's bedrooms and front yards. So far, it's holding up pretty well with the streaming. Oh, we blew right past. I guess it is sort of a short base turn to that runway, isn't it? All right. No turns over 30 degrees in the pattern. That is a safety procedure to follow for sure. Why? Because our stall speed increases when we are banking. All right, we don't need to cross control it. We'll just come back like this. Chop our power down to 25%. Let the airplane start to slow down. And then we'll intercept our VASI and see what we got. Actually, it will be a PAPI. That's good. We're low, so we can just level out here. That'll help slow us down. There's one white. We're 11, no flaps 50. Get in ourselves to our normal power setting, 25%. And good. Now we start trimming for about 90 knots. We can lose a little power to descend here. 90 knots is where we're happy. You can hear my little girl saying things in the background. Nice stabilized approach. Flaps 100. And the real serious, when you put flaps in, you really got to push forward on the yoke to keep your pitch right, and then it'll settle. That, and one thing about also this this flight model is it makes it a little slower with full flaps. So that full flaps would not take us to 76 knots after we were at 90. There's our middle marker, which is also our, there we go. So we're really slow right now. So 40% with this pitch down is not how the plane would be performing real world, but that's okay. We would never want to get below 76 knots. In fact, we want to be 76 over the fence. We're 75 right now, so that's not terrible. That would have been our touchdown point on a VFR approach. I never know never know where the wheels are on this thing. Okay. So I'd love to tweak that flight model a little bit, but just can't do it. So I don't know how. Maybe I need to learn how. Okay, so what did we learn? We learned that things worked generally the way I wanted them to, which was good. we learned that we need to find a exit point up here someplace. My taxi lights or my landing lights are really faint in this plane. C4 is right here. Almost missed the turn-off stripe. There we go. And to the empty ramp, and you're right, it's empty in the real world right now, also at Tampa International. But so it goes. Cool strobe effect. Flaps up. We can pick whatever gate we want. Let me just see some final questions here. No, this is just True Earth Tampa. Yeah, Cubs, I decided I started off in the daytime and then I moved to nighttime. I don't want to become a professional pilot, but I love flying and I love learning, so I got my private at the beginning of last year, and then I got my instrument rating last November, and I'm working on my commercial now. It just gives you something to learn. No, I'm not using any real ATC. I'm talking to you guys. So I look at the chat down here on my iPad, and then I use it to talk to people. So this is all default objects in this Tampa that I designed, and again, I submitted it to the gateway, so it's been uploaded and it is in the game now. So now when people download the new X-Plane, as soon as whatever the one is where they update, where they next update airports, this one will be in it. This gate looks fine. Just taxi right underneath this jetway. Pull right up to this tug. And shut her down. And what's cool with this is you turn the avionics off and the avionics go off. All right, well, everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for taking part of the test. It looks like things worked, so we didn't crash, and the stream held up. So what did I do? I underclocked. I turned down the overclock on the CPU a little bit. I disabled the NVIDIA audio driver, and that seemed to hold up. So at some point, probably the next stream, I will have downloaded a separate copy of X-Plane 5.11.5, and we'll be checking to see how the new Vulkan-based sim works and what it breaks and what it keeps working. What would be the best sim for a newbie? X-Plane, P3D, or Microsoft? I'm not quite sure, Mohammed, that I don't know that either of them would be best for a newbie. X-Plane is affordable, and it's pretty simple to install and run, so my thoughts about that. Thoughts on the Honeycomb? Looks cool. Haven't used it, so I don't know. Can't say. Cubs, thanks. Yeah, I'll be on again. You know, we're locked in our house, so this is when the work is done. This is a good way to spend the time. All right, everybody, thanks for watching, and stay healthy and keep the faith. We will get through all this. It might not be easy, but we will. Thanks for watching.